Good morning, everyone. Phil here, and welcome to the Level 1 podcast. How are you all doing today? I hope you're doing well. It is Tuesday, the 23rd of April, 2024, and it is an interesting day, especially with the schedule that we have ahead of us today, which we'll talk about in a moment. There's all kinds of noise outside my home today. Like, on one end, I heard what sounded like a humming construction sound, like there was some kind of a motor running or something, like behind my facility. And I was like, I don't know what that is, but I can't really stop it. I don't know what's going on back there. And now here in my office, I hear what sounds like an ongoing, again, like motor, but it sounds like someone's like cutting wood outside, if you know what I mean. You ever heard that sound of someone like running wood through like a blade or something? It's kind of what it sounds like. And I'm like, I don't know if that's what it is or not, but it's weird and distracting. Like, I feel like when I'm playing games, it won't be a big deal because I'll have the audio of the game. But as I'm just sitting here to do the podcast, I'm listening. I got these weird noise coming through the window. I'm like, everyone outside is just being noisy today. Also, today, Tuesday, the 23rd of April, will be incredibly warm here in Washington. Again, unseasonably warm. We're not even into May yet, and we're about to start having summer weather again. It's supposed to be like 75 or more degrees Fahrenheit today. Now, that's not that bad. It is kind of warm for spring. But again, as I tell you guys, when it gets that warm and there's full sun up in the afternoon here, the sun hits my wall on the office. And this building, in general, all of these buildings out here in Washington are built to retain heat. And what that means is, in the winter, it's great. You turn on your heat. You don't have to have it on blasting. When the sun comes out in the afternoon, the house naturally heats up. It's nice. But during the summer, every afternoon, it just gets too hot in here. I just don't understand. I guess I do understand, because the homes were built in the 1990s, okay? And sadly, I hate to say it, but humans do not look forward very well at all. They just live for the now in most cases. So they built the homes for how the climate was in the 90s, never predicting that it would even slightly get warmer. So now what we're faced with is every spring and summer, every single day it's sunny, my office gets hot as hell. Now, very soon this will not be an issue, because very soon, likely within the next month, I'm putting the air conditioners in. The thing is, I don't want to do that yet, because to give you a perfect example, the heat is only today. Tomorrow it goes down to the 50s, and then it's the 50s all week long. So why would I put an air conditioner in now to use it for one day and then have no fresh air in here for the next week? In addition, of course, having the air conditioner in costs a lot more money. So I'm trying to hold off as long as I can. It's looking like probably in May I'm going to eventually have to install them, and then they'll probably be running from May all the way through like September-ish. Sometimes they even have to run into October. Nothing can really be done about it because of the ongoing heat that we get. So we'll see, but for now, no air conditioning yet. But it is going to be warm. Hence, me wearing nice tropical clothing, But it's good. I've already been wearing this for a couple of weeks, and I'm just going to continue with this throughout the summertime, okay? Anyway, welcome to the show. I hope you're all doing well, and we're coming off of a multiplayer Monday, where all day long on Monday I played multiplayer games. I'll just give you a brief update on that because there's not too much to talk about in regards to that. What I am interested in is how tonight's late stream is going to go. Because quite frankly, I just don't know. And we're going to talk about this in a second. It's all about Fightcade. It's about being able to play retro fighting games, which people have literally for 10 years yelled at me and said, Phil, you're doing it wrong. You keep playing console versions of fighting games, and these are not the primary ways to play retro games. You need to get a PC, you need to get Fightcade, and you need to play like that. To which I kept telling everyone, I wasn't confident at all that Fightcade was going to work for me for various reasons. So today, we're going to talk about all this. Why? Because tonight on the late stream, I'm actually attempting to get Fightcade working on my mini PC and get it to a point where we can actually play retro games whenever we want on the regular. Okay? So we're going to see how this goes, because I am very skeptical, but after a decade of people, yelling at me for this, I'm going to at least give it a chance, all right? And again, I'm going to need help to do that. Let's talk about that in a minute. But anyway, so that's kind of the big discussion today. Outside of that, there's very little going on in the realm of game news or anything, like a few little tidbits here or there that we'll talk about. So we'll see where the podcast takes us after the fact. And go from there. All right. But there are new games coming, just to remind everyone. This Thursday, there's multiple things going on. So this Friday, when I come back from my break, there will be a new game called Another Crab's Treasure. And I do think that it should be interesting. It's a Soulsborne style game set in an aquatic cartoony world. I don't know how that's going to work. I guess we'll see. And keep in mind, yes, per demand and per its current massive popularity and its current update coming out this Thursday, I will be trying out Fallout 4 starting this Saturday. I'm going to do a second run. Only the second time I'm playing this game in 9 years. Okay? Major differences being, number one, now I'm an interactive streamer, so it just should be different to begin with because I'm not just kind of playing it and ignoring my stream audience or anything like that. It's very different. And in addition, the update on Thursday supposedly is going to tweak the game and make it better. We'll see. But anyway, with those new playthroughs on the horizon, for those of you who aren't too interested in what's going on today and tomorrow, hopefully you're at least excited for what's coming up this weekend in regards to new stuff and seeing where it goes, okay? All right, so anyway, before we get ahead of ourselves, there's a helicopter flying over my house, and Jasper just got super alerted by it. He's like, what's that? And he's looking all around. It's a helicopter, buddy. You've heard these before. Not often, though. We don't get a lot of helicopters around here. When I lived in Connecticut, actually, we heard helicopters often because there were different, like or it's not, it was aeronautical. There were different companies that dealt with, like, you know, flying around us, and notably Sikorsky helicopters was right there. And so we would much more frequently hear helicopters flying around. Today, we rarely get them. We hear a lot of planes because I'm right near the airport, but we don't hear a lot of helicopters. Anyway, yesterday was Multiplayer Monday, and it was a fun day. We started off with Helldivers 2, and my goal was to try to unlock this Quasar Cannon weapon, which you hold on your shoulder almost like a bazooka, but it's like a supercharged laser shot. You charge up, and it penetrates shields, and it kicks ass. It can even shoot a dropship of the robots out of the sky with one shot if you time it right. So that was my goal yesterday, and we did it. It took about an hour. We were grinding in the Terminid region, and after about just an hour of grinding there, ended up getting this Quasar Cannon. And then for the next hour and a half to 2 hours, I was fighting automatons with this Quasar Cannon. It is very fun. The reason being, the primary reason why it's so much fun, unlike the other, oh God, what are they called? How am I having a brain fart? The things that you summon down to help you. How can I not remember what they're called? Stratagems. There we go. I'm getting old. My brain takes a few seconds to warm up. So unlike the other stratagems that I've been using, this one does not require a backpack to use. You know, the stationary gun, which is basically a rocket launcher, and the autocannon both require a backpack. And when you have those, you can't have a second thing going. In this case, the Quasar Cannon actually doesn't need the backpack. So I was able to get both the drone and the Quasar Cannon at the same time. This is an incredibly good loadout, because not only is the drone fending off all the little enemies around you, but then you can focus on using your Quasar Cannon for massive damage against the big targets. So in my opinion, right now, my loadout is the best I've ever had. So it's basically the Penetrator Rifle, the Quasar Cannon, the Laser Beam Guard Dog Drone, the Orbital Laser, and the 500 kilogram bomb Eagle Drop. So really like this loadout. And, you know, talking with people in stream chat about what should the next loadout be in Helldivers and what to unlock next. And I'm working on it. I think people saying the shield is the next best thing because it basically, unlike the guard drone, it basically just gives you a lot of defense and you could kind of do whatever you want. You don't have to worry too much about losing health so fast. And it's actually better. You don't have to heal as much. So maybe that's what I'll work towards next. I think you have to be level 20 to unlock that. And it's going nicely. Although I will say, at first you'd think the progress would have been faster. But once you get to the teens of levels, you just don't earn as much of the medals to unlock the things in your, like, War Bond, whatchamacallit, whatever it's called, the unlockables or whatever. Like, I've been stuck multiple streams on what? like the 6th or 7th screens of that thing, and I'm not making any progress unlocking anything, despite the fact that I'm winning and leveling up and everything. So it definitely becomes more of a big grind. The further in you get. Still enjoying my time. Still like the fact that every time I play, it seems there's some kind of a new unlockable or a new mode or something new going on that's exciting and different. So far, liking the Helldivers stuff. Okay. Last night, I returned to Street Fighter 6, and this time around, I focused in on Zangief. All right. And one thing I should say, because I totally forgot about this, guess what, everybody? We have totally new animations right now. For the last 4 months, a lot of my animations have been focused on the Like a Dragon game series, whether it was a super chat or a tip. You probably saw me, my face on like Cosmic Kiryu dancing around or opening a briefcase of cash. Well, those animations at this point are played out. They've been for 4 months going on. Refreshed as of this morning. We have tons of new animations, and they're all Street Fighter related. So if you do a super chat between $0, I think it's like $1 is the minimum super chat you can do. So if you do a super chat from anywhere there up to $5, you get a new animation of me. And then every tip level after $5. So $10, $20, $30, and $50. All are new tip animations. And they're all Street Fighter related, which is pretty funny because obviously, number one, I'm going to be playing more Street Fighter 6 moving forward, especially with the Akuma update and then Season 2. But also, if I can get Fightcade working, you're going to see more fighting games in the rotation. And so it makes sense to have these new Street Fighter animations, correct? So today, if you want to see these animations, contribute to the streams. Like I said, any super chat up to $5 or any tip of 10, 20, 30, or 50, you'll see these brand new animations. I hope you like them. They're hilarious in my opinion. Okay. Now, getting back to the topic. Last night, Street Fighter 6 session with Zangief. First time using Zangief seriously in a long time. Basically, I did use Zangief back last year, but out of all the characters that I used, he was the absolute hardest to use at a competitive level. Sadly, Zangief is one of, if not the worst character in Street Fighter 6. I don't know why they keep making him so bad. It's been a very long time since we had a very good Zangief in anything. Anyway, I tried. I'm playing casual matches. I'm trying to learn tech. I studied some Snake Eyes gameplay videos to learn some techniques, and I did. I actually started implementing some new things, like drive rushing right into cold 360 grab, or drive rush into standing medium, or, some mix-ups of that. Also, whenever I'm close, using crouching light kick and then into the jabs, because that's the combo. If you use jabs, it's not as good. The crouching light kick is his best normal. And some other things with ticks and crossovers and things like that. But basically, the way I see it, it's going to be a very rough climb. And the reason is, we're almost a year into Street Fighter 6, right? It came out early June, first week of June last year. So we're 10, 11 months in. At this point, nearly every person who is still playing Street Fighter 6 has learned an online meta-style pattern for the character they're using. Most people are using top-tier characters, okay? Very rarely these days am I facing anything mid to low tier. I mean, to see a Honda or a Lily or a Blanca, it's so rare. Everyone's just using the same characters over and over because they think that they're easy to play with online. I hate to say it, but, Zangief, if Zangief gets going, meaning he could start momentum, he could trick the opponent into these situations where he could punish them with a spinning pile driver or, catch them with a combo, then get them into the corner, and now they don't know what to do because they're stuck in the corner. Then he can win. Okay? But the problem is, if the opponent gets any kind of momentum against him, he has an incredibly hard time stopping that momentum. All right? You need to either perfect parry, or you need to catch them in a thing that you can stuff, which is very rare because, again, the only thing you can really do to stuff anyone with Zangief is low short. That's it. All his other moves are too slow. Every once in a while, you can catch someone with, say, a standing fierce punch, which has super armor, but it's hard because if then it doesn't hit, then he's open. Everything with Zangief is big risk and big reward, but there's big risk, as opposed to the top tiers of Street Fighter 6 have little to no risk, high reward for everything they do. Like a good Cammy or Jury can keep this insane offensive rush down going, and they don't ever have to let up. You have to break through it somehow, or else you'll be just stuck for the entirety of the round. So it's tough. And let me put it this way. I learned for sure. I was doing some things yesterday that I was taking straight out of the Snake Eyes videos, and it was working. I was like, oh, this is good. But even with that, no exaggeration, I lost more than I won. It was very close. The count actually ended up being, see here, 26 wins and 28 losses. So, yeah, I lost more than I won, and that's not cool, you know. I like to at least, whenever I play Street Fighter, break even. It's not always going to happen, nor is there a way that I can make that happen every time. I don't like having a losing record at all, but, you know, that's life, basically. It happens, and hold on, I'm cleaning my phone because I was reading that off, and there was crap all over my phone, so I'm trying to clean it so I can actually read now. Okay, there we go. It sucks. I don't want a losing record, but it is what it is, right? You know, I got to take my lumps to learn, and I feel like the more I play with Zangief, naturally, I'm just going to learn different matchups. I'm just going to learn different situations, and I'm going to get better with the character. But I feel like most people already got Zangief's go. You know what I'm saying? Like, they know Zangief setups. They know that you're probably going to be going for a spinning pile driver a lot of the time, and they just jump out of it. One thing I've noticed with Zangief, okay, people jumping, they don't really care if they get hit or not. For example, with other characters, people will be apprehensive about jumping because I'll give you an example here. Against Blanca, if you jump on Blanca, okay, and you're not timing it right, or Blanca's ready, Blanca will immediately anti-air you, and that will lead you right into a giant juggle and possibly into a super or level 3 super. So Blanca, at any moment in a round, can turn the tide of a game because you jumped on him and he immediately juggles you for ginormous damage, okay? In the case of Zangief, all his damage is dealt while standing on the ground. All of it. So because of that, it actually makes more sense for you to be jumping against Zangief more than not. And if you actually get on Zangief at the right angles, his anti-air, which is literally just spinning clothesline, he can't do anything else, it's a lariat, it won't hit. If you jump over him, the lariat doesn't hit. You stuff it. If you're above him, the lariat doesn't hit. You have to hit at this weird, straightforward, diagonal angle with the lariat for it to do an anti-air. So he's at a huge disadvantage at almost all times. Again, if you were with the people making this game, and it's like, oh, we're gonna make a grappler. Okay, so where's his strengths? Well, if he's standing right next to you, he's good. Literally every other situation, he's bad. If he's far away, if you're in the air, air to air, if someone's jumping at him, he's terrible. He's only good in this one small portion of the screen. Oh, and by the way, if you're facing a top tier who rushes down, he sucks anyway because they just overwhelm him. It's like, wow. Really genius thinking there when you're trying to balance the game, right? I mean, I don't know what the hell they were thinking. Anyway, so it's going to be an uphill battle. All right. I will do my best to improve his Zangief. Last night was the first step towards that. I got to keep sticking with my guns and playing with him in order to get better. And I feel like I will over time as long as I stick to it. So more Zangief coming later this week. Hope for the best. Okay? Okay. What's funny is I got a suggestion from someone. They were like, you know, it really seems like when you play Street Fighter 6, your big weakness is Cammy. That every time you face a Cammy, Cammy is your hardest opponent. Even with your best characters like Blanca. So why don't you just learn Cammy? Right? Like someone said that. Says, why don't you play with Cammy? And Jasper, no, you're not going to chew. No, don't even start with this. You were laying down. Hey, you were laying down relaxing. Now you're going to chew a wire? No, you're not. Especially not my new wire. You're not doing that. My new wire for my PS5 controller, he's going to start chewing now. Right. No, he's not. Okay. Jasper, now wait a minute. I just said no. Jasper, that's it. You're in big trouble. That's it. That's it. How dare you? That wire alone. That wire alone. Ugh. Okay. Okay. Okay, I got so distracted. What was I saying? That was I finished talking about Street Fighter 6, right? We're done for that? Okay. That's so distracting. All right. That's what he does. He wants attention, he distracts you. All right. So today, let's talk about today's schedule and the schedule for the week. But I want to talk about a lot today's Fightcade. So let's do that. So today, the schedule is thus. First stream here, the continuation of Elden Ring. And as you know, the Glintstone magic run in Elden Ring has been unique. Very, very different than my original run of the game. In some ways, way stronger, and in others, pretty weak. So some bosses that I completely destroyed in my first run, in this one, I'm having a hard time with, and vice versa. Some bosses that were some of the hardest in my first run, I just melted in this run. So that's definitely to be expected, correct? But overall, I really enjoyed doing this. It actually opened up my understanding of the game better when it comes to the different systems. You know, and I was just doing a melee jump R2 run, and then every once in a while doing a weapon art or whatever. That's a lot different than, say, utilizing how to manage your FP meter, your health, dodging, moving around, maneuvering, using different kinds of spells and sorceries. It's more complex of a run this time around, for sure. So I absolutely have been enjoying this run. I hope that you guys have too. Today we have to finish up Farah Missoula, and we are in the middle of the Placidusax boss fight. He whooped my butt for an hour. We actually got down to the wire. The last time I was fighting him, like literally we were done. We were going to finish him, and then he insta-killed me with a cheap attack that literally it didn't broadcast the way that it really should have. What Placidusax does is every once in a while, he flies away, teleports away, and then he flies around the arena as a cloud of smoke, and then he zips in with a super attack, and if you dodge it, you're good. If not, he can insta-kill you. So he was doing it, and I was looking all around, and the smoke wasn't showing up. So I don't know what happened. I don't know if it just was in an angle. I just couldn't see it, but I was spinning in place and couldn't see the smoke. So I didn't know where the hell he was, and he insta-killed me just when I needed like 2 more hits, and he was dead. It was pretty... Hey, what did I say? Stop it right now. Leave it alone. Stop it. Stop chewing my wires. Hey, stop it. Jasper, you're really getting my goat today. Jasper? I've had enough. This? Okay. Had enough. Okay. Stop being such a silly kid. You want attention? Jump on the chair. Jump on my lap. I'll pet you. Stop chewing my wires. Ugh. Anyway. All right. So, yeah. Today we're going to re-tackle Placidusax. Hopefully beat him. Hopefully quickly. And then we're going to try to continue to finish the exploration of Farah Missoula. We have like 2 different directions left to go. We got to go down the ramp and up the ramp because there's a ramp that goes 2 different directions. And then after that, wherever, because really we can either beat the game, meaning go back to the Imperial City and do these big fights against, you know, the final bosses, or if you want, instead we could go north back to the frozen area and we could thoroughly explore that area, because in that area there's still stuff to do, mini bosses and a whole other like dungeon that's a city with these invisible enemies. Once you beat that, then you unlock the Halig tree. We could get to the Halig tree. You know, we have these different things to do. It's really up to you what you guys want to see once I beat Farah Missoula. The question is, really, how tough is the final boss of Farah Missoula going to be during the magic run? And that's an answer I don't have. You know, I'm trying to remember. I think in the first run, I beat him within just a couple of tries. But in this run, this could be way harder, dependent on, you know, he does insane damage, and he's fast. So I don't know if we're going to be able to beat him so easily this time. I guess we're going to see today. Unless Placidusax beats me for 3 straight hours, but I don't think that's going to happen. Okay? All right. Someone was saying, I was talking about Cammy, and then I got sidetracked by Jasper. Okay, so here's what I was going to say. Someone recommended, if I'm having so many problems with Cammy, why don't I play as Cammy? The answer is very simple, okay? In most fighting games, not all, because there have been some exceptions. In most fighting games, I actually do not enjoy characters that are mostly known for mindless rushdown. Okay? So, for example, right now in Street Fighter 6, I probably would not enjoy using Cammy, Ken, Jury, those kind of characters. At least in the case of Luke, Luke has some variety in how he plays. Although, yes, there is a lot of rushdown. He does have a little bit of kind of step back ranging and zoning as well. This is the reason why I did not like DJ at the beginning when I played him a year ago. Remember, I'm thinking, oh, this is DJ. He's going to play like Super Turbo. He plays nothing like Super Turbo at all. He doesn't even have the same properties. He's just a brand new character in this. And quite frankly, the way that they made him, where he's constantly got to be drive rushing into your face with these moves and everything, I just don't like that. I've never really liked that. There's some exceptions. In Marvel vs. Capcom, my best character is Wolverine, and he is pure rushdown. Like, he is best played as a character in your face constantly, and I'm very good with him in that game. In Marvel vs. Capcom 2, I'm pretty good with Storm and Magneto. And Storm's more of a hybrid, but she's good rushdown. Magneto is pure rushdown. Yes, I'm good with those characters, and I liked playing with them in those games. But that's few and far between. A counter example of this, I just don't like Strider Hiryu in Marvel vs. Capcom 1, because he's the best rushdown character in the game, but it's only because his normal moves are overpowered, and they basically cancel out everybody else's, so it gives him an unfair advantage where he can just continuously rush down and do this endless cycle of do a hit string, level 1 super, which gives him a force field that makes him invincible, do a string, level 1 super. He just does it the whole game. It's so broken, it's not even fun to play against him. Now, that is correct. Take a look at Super Turbo. In Super Turbo, my Balrog is a rushdown character for sure. He can stay in your face the whole round, and he can trick you and just do throw loops, everything. He's a super good rushdown character, and I like that in those games. But for whatever reason, in most modern fighters, I just don't like the rushdown style. I prefer characters where you can play a little differently. It's a little bit more about setting up and tricking the opponent, or getting to a point where, like, you're reacting to what they're doing and you're getting a big rewards for being smart and playing well, as opposed to just, I play mindless pattern over, and it wins. I hate that gameplay, and that's, sadly, what about 80% of the players playing Street Fighter 6 do. Mindless pattern in a circle ad nauseum. No conscious thought, no actual understanding of the game mechanics, just do the pattern that you saw online. And that's what they all do. So the thing is, as much as, yes, it probably would benefit me to play as and learn Cammy, I probably would hate it. I probably would not have a good time with it. If this were a case where Street Fighter 6 was a game that I was playing it all the time, like the pros do, and I was playing this, one stream a day, half my streaming was always Street Fighter 6, I probably would have learned the whole cast by now. Not to say that I would have played as all of them, but for example, that's what I've done in Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo. In the game that I like the most out of all fighting games and have played the most, I learned every character. I'm not good with every character, but I do understand how to play with every character at least around a mid-level, and that's why I think I'm so good at the game. In this case, I just don't have that kind of time investment in the modern day, being a full-time businessman. I'm streaming all the time. I don't have time to just sit here and play Street Fighter 6 and learn that shit. So, it is what it is. So, I don't think, if I played with Cammy, I feel like it would just kind of be more of a waste of time, because, yeah, I could learn her and it would be the same basic rushdown pattern everyone else does. And I don't necessarily know if that would help me improve against her. It would just maybe let me understand more of what's coming when they do the patterns over and over. But I don't know if it would even improve my game, except unless I wanted to use Cammy, and I really don't want to. I don't think I'm going to like the character. So, okay, we got that out of the way. Now, what I wanted to talk about is Fightcade. Okay? Fightcade. Boy, let me tell you guys something. This starts all the way back in the mid-2000s. Okay? In the mid-2000s, GGPO netcode was released. Now, this netcode was basically something to work with already existing emulators. People were already playing fighting games online in the mid-2000s through emulators over the internet. But it was all lag-based netcode, which is really called delay-based netcode. What that means is when there is an issue with the latency or whatever, the game will slow down and start to play in slow-mo. That way you can try to catch up with the things that it's having an issue with the latency. All right? With the GGPO netcode, it does the opposite. The game keeps running at the same speed, and it uses a predictability factor to kind of guess what exactly it is that's being input, and then it tries to rectify that after the fact. So if you're playing in a bad connection on a rollback netcode, which was originally called GGPO netcode, what'll happen is you'll see something happen on screen, but then if it was wrong, it'll reverse what happened on screen, take it back, and then show another outcome. Or in the worst case scenario, it'll take it back and just fast forward, and then something happened you never even got to see. And I remember when the GGPO netcode first released, and you know, we were asked to test it out. The FGC was outright asked, hey, everyone, test this out and give us feedback on it. And I played on it, and I was like, wow, it definitely feels smoother than the delay-based netcode. But, dude, it would be teleporting. You would be going all over the place. And then even when you were playing a match that looked good, like there was no teleporting or rollback visible, you'd be playing, and sometimes your move just would outright not come out. Walk forward, punch, literally nothing. Just walk forward, no input. Huh? Where did my input go? And this would happen a lot. It wasn't like, oh, rarely. Probably several times a match. And in a fighting game, you can't afford to have moves just be eaten and dropped and not come out. That's a critical thing about a fighting game. Especially, you know, you were talking mid-2000s. We're not talking modern fighting games. But back then, every move counted. Imagine playing Super Turbo. And it's the critical moment, and you press the button, and absolutely nothing happens. And the opponent now hits you with a giant combo, game over. Or they jump at you. Oh, God, let me block. Oh, just doesn't block once. Dead. Just instant death. Like, what the hell? Like, what is going on? Right? And that's how it was. So it was shocking for me because I was like, wow, so this GGPO netcode, which is, again, what it was called back then. It wasn't called rollback netcode yet. It makes the game look better to me. It looks smoother. It absolutely does. But the actual experience of playing it is not satisfactory. Number one, when there is a lot of lag, you're teleporting all over the place and things are just, you know, you can't even see what's happening. And then when you have a match when that isn't happening, sometimes your moves just get eaten up. And it was frustrating. And, you know, I even confronted the maker of the code and said, you know, is this true? And everything you're saying is true. Okay, well then why is it that when I posted my criticisms of this netcode on your website, shoryuken.com, you removed the post and you suspended me? Oh, because we're trying to sell this netcode to Capcom and other companies, so we can't have people saying negative things about it. So all the posts that kiss the netcode's butt saying, wow, this is so much better than delay-based, it looks better, were allowed to be posted. My post, which was honest criticism, was removed, and I was punished. Okay? That was 20 years ago. All right? Since then, obviously a lot has changed. Okay? And in reality, you know, everyone has these different skewed histories of Street Fighter, depending on who you were friends with and who you knew and where you lived. And my history of Street Fighter is just very different than everyone else's because I lived on the East Coast. I wasn't friendly with the people who ran shoryuken.com and the people who ran Evo. In fact, it was kind of the opposite. I was kind of at odds with them a lot because I felt that they had a lot of things that they were running that weren't very kosher, a lot of very questionable practices at their tournaments, and all kinds of stuff, okay? So, the reason we're talking about this is because this all ties into Fightcade, okay? If you don't know, Fightcade, all right? And by the way, Jughead Jones, you're absolutely wrong. The posts are not archived there because they were deleted from the site. What you're talking about are unrelated posts, not to the subject, so get banned, you fuckface. Because everything I'm talking about was in IRC chats and shit. These conversations I had, they can't be archived from SRK, you dunce. Fucking moron detractor in my chat, trying to hide out, pretending like he's not. I love it. Oh, everything Phil ever said has been archived. Wrong. Wrong. All the deleted posts are gone. So you would never find my posts about this because they were deleted. The ones that you'll see were the ones that were allowed to be posted. They were selective and what they allowed to be on the site. And no, the private conversations that I have with the people behind the scenes are not archived. You're a moron. Fuck off. Okay. So, let's get back to modern day now. Fightcade is an emulation suite program or whatever you call it, and it runs on GGPO netcode. Okay? Now, of course, this is 20 years later GGPO netcode. I'm absolutely sure it's better than the original version that I played in the early to mid 2000s when it was first made available to everyone in the fighting game community. So make no mistakes, I'm sure today's experience is probably a lot better. 20 years to hash out the wrinkles, or iron out the wrinkles, I should say. Probably it's going to be better, okay? Also, it's free. You don't have to pay for it. They're giving it away. That's pretty cool, all right? Now, here's the thing. 10 years ago, I started playing old school fighters on console, and people started giving me crap. Why are you playing Third Strike Online Edition? Why are you playing the Marvel Versus Collection? I forgot what it was called, but whatever that collection was called. Why are you playing that on console? There's Fightcade. And then we had the Capcom Classics Collection, which I played for a good 3 to 4 years, which I really shouldn't have done because it ran horribly on console and had no actual, like, moderation or anything. Trolling was rampant. In addition, there was the Ultra Street Fighter 2 game on the Switch, and that was a piece of dog shit because it had hidden characters that were broken and way overpowered compared to the rest of the cast. They weren't meant to be played competitively, but they put them in ranked play, okay? And then the latest botch was the Capcom Fighting Collection, which featured classic games paired in with Darkstalkers and stuff. A great collection that had no cross-platform play, no promotion, and literally no ease of use when it came to finding people online. So imagine there's 4 or 5 versions of Darkstalkers in this game, and you're trying to play them online, but everyone's in a different one. You can't even find them. So because of that, everyone would try to play and never find matches, or it would take forever. So they really screwed it up, all right? Like, these last 10 years that there's been attempts to make classic fighting games be on console really have been just a big botch job after botch job, mistake after mistake. And all along, being that I was a console gamer, right? People would say, man, Phil, you're really missing out. Everyone who plays retro fighting games plays them on Fightcade on PC. Literally, there's an entire enthusiast community of people playing retro games on PC, and you're never part of it, which sucks because we can see you're good at old fighting games. We want to see you play old fighting games at a good capacity, and you're just not getting that because you're playing these crappy console versions of the games. Okay? So, I always said, hey, listen, I don't have the viability to do it. I just don't. And also, there's another concern that a lot of people don't realize, okay? When you talk about Fightcade or any of these emulators or whatever, who do you think is honestly playing Fightcade? Do you think that it's just a bunch of casual people who just, oh man, I heard that you could play old fighting games on there. Let me just boot it up, you know, and play it casually, and this will be fun. I hate to tell you guys, that's not who's on there, okay? You want to know who's on there? People who likely are either old school players who this is the only viable way for them to play these games anymore because there are no arcades to play against people anymore. So this would be the one way to get competition in them. Or people who have come up in the community over the last 10, 20 years who necessarily weren't playing these games because they were too young back in the day, but they've grown an affinity for them. So I would bet, no exaggeration, there's probably a group of 20 to 30-year-olds, younger than me, that are super duper good at old school fighting games now, solely because they've been playing them on Fightcade for the past 15 years. I wouldn't be surprised at all. When they do a Super Turbo tournament, how much do you want to bet the top placers are people who just sit around playing on Fightcade all day? And there's nothing wrong with that, but the point I'm making is these are people who never stopped playing. They've literally been playing non-stop retro games forever. So, as much as I like retro Street Fighter, all right, to step into the realm of Fightcade, literally the people who never stopped playing, is kind of like someone who's rusty at a sport trying to now go play against pro players, right? Like, that's literally the situation. So, even if I jumped into Fightcade, you're probably talking like I'm going to get non-stop manhandled and spanked by people who've been playing these games crazy high level for years. For example, one of the games I absolutely love from back in the day is X-Men vs. Street Fighter. This was the game that put the versus games on the map. Before that, there was games such as X-Men Children of the Atom, Marvel Superheroes, and this is what started the Marvel licensing with Capcom fighting games, the super jumps, the cartoony look. but it was X-Men versus Street Fighter that had the first versus, the 2v2 gameplay, where you could tag in and out and do double teams and do great, giant, flashy super moves. This was the first game that was super appealing to the eye to watch, not just fun to play. This is what started the big competitive fighting game movement, where people wanted to go to tournaments and watch players because the game was so, it was like a giant, awesome comic book on the screen, right? So, this game is ultra fun. Every character in the game is broken. No exaggeration. Literally every character in X-Men vs. Street Fighter has like an infinite combo that can be done ad nauseum, and you just win when you start landing it. It's crazy broken, okay? At the same time, sadly, the game is broken because of it. So if you don't know those strategies and combos, you basically don't have a chance, all right? Now, I knew those strategies and combos 20 years ago, but I haven't played the game in so long, it probably would take me a while to get back into the swing of things and start to remember. Now imagine I go to play it on Fightcade, and the first match is against someone who's literally played the game since the 1990s, has never stopped playing, plays the game regularly online, and instantly just infinites me, and that's the end. It's like, I get the feeling that's Fightcade. Like, in a nutshell, that's Fightcade. People who are the biggest fans and hardcore players of these games, and this is the only way you can consistently get good matches. So this is just what they've been doing nonstop. Again, these are probably the people keeping this alive. When you know, what do they call it? Like the enthusiast community? It's not necessarily a pro circuit for these older games anymore, but they keep it alive via playing on Fightcade, and then they hold their own tournaments as side events during big tournaments, right? So I almost guarantee you that's literally what's going to happen. Now, there's some other issues as well. When you play on PC, you may not be aware of this, cheating is absolutely rampant. I mean, this is a free client, all right? There's going to be people who have everything mapped on their controllers, so they don't have to do shit. They're going to have one-button Shoryukens. They're going to have one-button combos and super, all, you know, fucking mash up. They're going to have infinite turbo mode. Hold down the button, and it's going to go kick, 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 faster than a human can tap the button. It's just a rampant thing that you can't stop. It's going to happen when you're playing on PC on a thing that's free, that has no rules, essentially, right? So it's going to be pretty ridiculous. I'm guaranteeing you, you know, to get on Fightcade and play these people is literally going to be like a laughable, hilarious experience. The first thing I'm going to do is just kind of mess around and not take it seriously. Because I feel like if I jump in and I start taking it ultra seriously from the get-go, I'm just going to get pissed. Because you're going to see that the most ludicrous things, right? Like, I predict I'm going to pick Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, and the first fight will be against a June, and the June will be perfect, where he'll be able to do, excuse me, not a June, a Yoon. And he's going to do the perfect hit string into super, into the big combo, into the super, into the big combo, into the super, into the big combo, into the super. Which is very tough to do offline, but he'll be doing it perfectly online. Because they've probably been doing it for 30 years, right? And I'm like, now what the fuck? I guarantee it. I really don't think, for example, when I play these games on console, a lot of the times, the vast majority of people I'm playing aren't great. Because they're just casual people who are interested in retro fighting games. They buy it on their Xbox, they buy it on their PlayStation, they pop it in and they play it, and you get some comp, but it's not necessarily high-level comp, but it's good because you can mess around. You know, I can mess around with my Urian, I could stick around with Hugo, characters who aren't, you know, tournament viable for me, but I can at least mess around with them. I'm going to get on Fightcade, it's going to go like this, just immediate spanking by every person that plays me. And I know it. Like, I'm already expecting that. I would be shocked if I play Fightcade and I fight people of, like, average skill level and I can actually hang with them. I'd be, like, blown away if that happened. Okay? So, that's number one. And then number two on top of it, again, I just want to point out the fact, since this is a PC client, I guarantee you this is going to be a way for rampant cheating. Or, excuse me, not rampant cheating, rampant trolling is what I meant to say. For example, I'm already being told, oh yeah, with Fightcade, there's no way to stop the chat on the screen, so people could just sit there saying awful things, and there's nothing you can do about it. Oh yeah, on Fightcade, people could just non-stop spam invites on you to play you, so you have to immediately turn it off, because if you don't, immediately, they're just going to just constantly spam, and you'll never be able to use the dang thing. It's just constant pop-ups or things in your face that'll bother you. Like, really? Okay, that doesn't sound very good. Now, I have a legit question for everyone. I don't know how many of you have ever used Fightcade. Okay, what about your IP address? That's actually a major concern for me. Like, I can't have my IP address getting leaked and having more people try to DDoS attack me or DDoS me or whatever the fuck it's called. Okay, and I have a new IP. I've had a new IP for months. So I need to find out that using this Fightcade is going to protect my IP address. I can't have it that people are going to have a way to discern my IP using this client. What's hilarious is people have asked me to use it for 10 years. Not a single person has brought up this thing, this point about IP addresses. Okay? So, I need to know tonight when we're doing a live setup of this, how it works, how to prevent the trolling. Before I boot a single match, I need to have this set up so we're not going to have pop-ups constantly with people inviting spam. We're not going to have people getting my IP and trying to knock my streams offline. You know, this all has to be figured out before I fuck around with this thing. All right? It's not as simple as, oh, I'm just a Joe Nobody. No one cares, so I can just download it and use it. No, you know that I'm a target. So everyone who's asked me for 10 years to use Fightcade, I hope you know what the fuck you're talking about. Because, yeah, it's a major concern for me that something like this could happen. Okay? I hope it doesn't. I hope legit this is not an issue and that we will get it working. So I don't know what I'm supposed to do. How do I fix this or how do I make it so that's not going to be a concern? Right? I don't know. Does anyone even know? You can block in-game chat and all that stuff. Well, that's what I need to do. Well, I guess what people were saying is that when you first boot it up, everything's on, obviously, but then you could turn off the ability for someone to send you an invite. The problem is that means that I have to always go to other people and invite them to matches. There is no matchmaking in this. It's just going to be a listing of people who want to play, and then you have to pick who you want to play, and they have to accept, and then you play, right? So, I don't know. We have to see how it works. And if it doesn't work, if it ends up being a fucking mess, then I guess it's a fucking mess, and we just don't do it. And for those, why don't you set it up offline? What the fuck are you talking about? How am I going to do that? Literally, the issues cannot be figured out until we're doing it live, right? Like, if I play it offline, no one will know I'm doing it offline. So how would I know how I'm going to handle trolling? It would be the moment I turn it online that people start trolling me that we could figure out the fixes. Not offline. It doesn't even make sense. The same thing people say about, oh, well, why weren't you ready for this when you did your multiplayer session? Because I wasn't fucking playing on stream. So I didn't have anyone trying to troll me. How could I have prepared for it when I didn't know how it was going to work? How would we have known that in Street Fighter 6 there's constant invite pop-ups? How would you know that unless you were playing it and people were trolling you live on a stream? You would never know that. People just think the world is fucking perfect and everything can be perfectly prevented or planned for. Or no, it's not. That's not reality. And if you think that, you probably live an insanely insulated fucking life where your mom probably does everything for you, so you don't realize that things actually happen that you have to fix on the fly. It's just absolutely ridiculous, over-the-top nonsense when people say shit to me like that. Oh, you could have just easily prevented every problem early. It's like, no, you can't. That's not life. You're crazy if you think that, okay? So, here's the thing. I want to play Fightcade. I want to play old school Street Fighter, all right? But I have to get it working properly, and it's going to take time. This is not going to be tonight. I boot up the stream, and we have 5 minutes, and now it's working. I get the feeling it's going to be a rough setup. We got to, it has to be installed. I think I already have it installed, by the way. And I think I just have to make an account. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure I already installed it last year. I just have to figure that out for myself, like how far I got. And then I think I got to make an account, and then I have to figure it out. Like, how do you set it up so you don't get pop-up invites, and how can people spam, and how do you get the chat off the screen so that people aren't saying gross stuff that everyone can see on the stream, right? And then also the other thing, how do I get it so that I can use it by sitting here? Because right now, with this keyboard and mouse setup, the keyboard and mouse are way the fuck over there. Like, way over there. So I can't reach them. I'd have to figure out how to get stuff to reach over here and use it realistically. Maybe the mouse would reach. I don't know about the keyboard. Plus, do I need the keyboard? Once I map everything out to the joystick, because my joystick does work on a PC, is that fine? Or am I always going to need this fucking keyboard for something? Or will the mouse do everything? Right? Like, I don't know. See, now we got someone in chat who's literally said, every time you play a match, someone has your IP. Guys, do you really believe that? Do you really believe that on Fightcade, that every time you play someone, they immediately get your IP address? Do you think anyone would actually use Fightcade if it immediately doxed your IP address? Seriously, don't you think that would be a slight liability for the people who made it and for the people who use it? That every single moment, right? Like, what are you talking about? I don't know. People are just, I don't know. People are just crazy, right? Anyway, so I don't know. I know everyone's saying VPN. That doesn't work. When you do a VPN, it adds lag. What are you talking? Boy, you have no idea how a VPN works, do you? Use a VPN. That's not how VPNs work, genius. VPNs reroute you through another location of the planet, adding insane amounts of lag. Then you're going to play an online game? Are you stupid? Boy. Bjorn Turok, I don't know what you're talking about. I've had 0 problems on stream today. 0. The stream is a nice connection. No issues. So if you're having issues, it's your ISP or your connection. Everything is fine. I don't know what you're talking about there. So anyway, I don't know. This was this Bono Techno says the chat client does not have your IP address. Others cannot find it through the chat client. The lobby only knows your country, but when you play a game, they get your IP address. What? You know? Okay. All right. This is so ridiculous. Do you not understand the legal liability that a company would have if every time that you used something, it gave away your IP address? Right? Do you not understand that? So either you're telling me that people just don't care and they're so idiotically stupid that they would actively use this fighting game client to play the game and literally open themselves up to doxing and DDoS attacks and trolling. And this has been like this for 15 years. All right? Or you're wrong. So which is it? Do we have a ginormous legal liability, in which case someone could sue the fuck out of the company that made Fightcade because they're constantly giving away people's IP addresses without telling them? Or are you wrong? Which is it? I'd like to know. I'd like the honest answer. Maybe you're right. And then this company will just get sued. This is literally like playing a peer-to-peer game via an emulator. This is how it works. I play this with the Tecmo community. So seriously, how would anyone who is a known player who streams, okay? How would you use it? So you tell me I can't use it. You tell me I can't use Fightcade. I'm done. Because all it's going to take is one troll, right, to join a match to play me, and they have my IP address. And then they're just going to fucking post it all over the internet, and then the people are going to DDoS attack me constantly. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, this is 10 years of people telling me to play on Fightcade. And now, the day when I'm going to do it, now you people tell me in chat that this is what happens. You waited this long to tell me. No, trolls cannot IP grab you off any game. If they did, they would have fucking doxed me 5 zillion times over the years, so you don't know what the fuck you're talking about. That's just stupidity saying that. I just want you guys to put yourself into my situation. Really, just do this for a second, all right? And I want you to, because I think sadly most people do not, and they hold you accountable and they treat me like shit. And I just want you to listen to me for a second rationally, okay? For over 10 years, I've exclusively played fighting games on console, all right? Exclusively. And every time that I've done this, I've never had an issue with any kind of security whatsoever because consoles secure all your information. No one's going to get your IP address from playing a fighting game on a console, ever, right? But because of that, I've had to put up with lag and inferior versions of these games, right? I have, and we can all agree that the console versions of classic fighting games are not up to snuff with the real versions. They've all had issues with lag, or like I said, with the Capcom Classics collection, literally no moderation options whatsoever. Okay? So, pretty bad, right? In that regard, you get the inferior version, but at least you're safe, correct? Excuse me. So, it's been 10 years. Everyone yelled at me, I'm doing the wrong thing. Everyone uses Fightcade. Why don't you just use Fightcade? You're such an idiot. You're such a dumbass. You're such a loser. You don't do what everyone else does. You're not playing the best players because you're not using Fightcade. You should be using Fightcade. So now here we are, 10 years later, and I'm ready. I've been waiting. I got the time set around. Let's do it. Right? Oh, by the way, that exposes your IP address. Oh. You had to wait 10 years to fucking tell me that? Seriously, now I'm fucking pissed. I'm legit and very rightly pissed that you had to wait to the day that I scheduled it. Because everyone asked me for it for 10 fucking years. Now you're going to tell me, oh, your IP address gets exposed. It gets to the point where when people ask for shit, and they start to unfairly treat me away, I'm just going to tell them, shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear you bitching. Because that's where the point we're getting to at this point. Like, people screaming so loudly that I'm doing it wrong, when in reality, I've always been doing it right, because there's no way that a streamer should be using Fightcade if it gives away your IP address. And I'm tired of it. I'm tired that because I'm Darkside Phil, I'm the brunt of the abuse. I get the one that get yelled at and called names and treated poorly because I'm Darkside Phil. That's really the only reason, right? If I was anyone else, it would have been like, all right, well, you're a streamer, you know, Fightcade's the best, but, you know, for me, it's like, no, fuck you, Phil, you piece of shit, right? You've been doing it wrong for 10 years. Why don't you just listen to us, right? Okay, well, then I'm listening to you now. Let's do it. Oh, wait, actually, your IP just gets exposed. You should have never done this to begin with. See, now Swagonito says, well, streamers use Fightcade all day long. Avoid the puddle is one of them. How? If it gives away your IP address, as people are suggesting in the chat, how? Player Essence, please kiss my fucking ass and enjoy your permanent ban, you dumb piece of fucking shit. Seriously. Fuck off. Asshole. Why am I so angry? Because if you were told for 10 years that you're doing something wrong, for 10 years, you were told you're the one who's doing everything incorrectly, why don't you just listen to reason? And then the day you're actually going to make amends and change and try to do the thing that people have said this is the right thing to do, you get told, oh no, you can't do it anyway. How would you feel? It doesn't even matter that's Fightcade. This could have been anything, right? I don't know, you know? No, you see, Fightcade is something that the FGC is heavily into and has been. So if you're in the FGC, you probably know about Fightcade. Outside of that, you probably never heard of it. It's not something that you would hear. It's not advertised. It's not something that they're trying to get tons of people to use or anything like that, right? So now I don't know what to do. You tell me. What am I supposed to do, right? What do I do? Maybe I'll just sit here tonight and I'll just fucking sit back like this. I'll just be like, hey, I'm just going to sit here. I'm just going to sit on stream and do nothing, right? I don't know what else. It's just ridiculous at this point. It really is. At this point, I'm just so flabbergasted. I'm just so resigned. It gets to the point where, like, you get, what is the word? Like, you get desensitized. Like, I shouldn't be upset. I shouldn't be surprised that for 10 years people gave me misinformation and yelled at me for that misinformation and acted like I was a villain or stupid or whatever, doing the wrong thing. You know, I guess I shouldn't expect to be treated with respect. I guess that's actually the best way to put it. I should not expect to be treated with any kind of respect. Whatever people tell me, 9 times out of 10, they're fucking with me. They're just, any criticism of me actually isn't valid. It's just people trying to basically make fun of me just for the sake of making fun of me, right? I thought this was legit. I thought it's like, oh, people really haven't, Phil's been really missing out on playing old school fighters, right? He's really been missing out because he just doesn't listen because he's stubborn, he's obstinate. And so after all these years, I get to a point where I actually have a situation where I have a PC that I can play Fightcade. Let's do it. I'm excited to do it. We have the time to do it. I made the time to do it. I want to set it up. I want to do it. And then the morning before I'm going to do it, you tell me it gives away my IP address. It only took 10 fucking years. Wow. Horny Gordon Rule says Fightcade doesn't openly display your IP. It's still accessible during gameplay due to peer-to-peer nature like Call of Duty. So explain this to me. How does anyone ever stream Call of Duty? Because don't you think there's malicious parties who would get someone's IP address who's a streamer and DDoS attack them or post it all over the internet? So how is it possible that people play Call of Duty? How is it possible that Avoid the Puddle plays on Fightcade and doesn't get his IP address doxed? How is this possible? No, not a VPN, you incredible dunce. Stop saying VPN. VPNs are not for online play. Wow, that is a stupid answer. Just the very nature, the fact that you don't know how a VPN works is hilarious. To say that in a chat, that you think that you want to add latency by using a VPN in an online play, that is incredibly stupid, what you're saying. Well, I guess it's a shot then. I guess we're just not doing it, you know? I guess we're not doing it. What a waste of time this whole thing has been. Seriously. What a hilarious waste of time this discussion has been all these years that people have yelled at me to play Fightcade. Because I'm being told, like legit, someone who's trying to help in chat says, this is why in things like Fightcade, it's considered friend groups or friend lobbies, people you trust playing against each other. That way, it's not people using the information maliciously against you or anything. That's what they're saying. Yeah, play with trusted friends only. Well, then I can never use Fightcade, ever. Not a single fucking time can I ever play Fightcade, right? So I'm done. That's it. Fightcade is off the table. Now we have to change the schedule for the next 2 nights because I cannot play this program, even though people have demanded that I use it for a decade. Outright told me I'm an idiotic moron buffoon for playing console versions of fighting games when Fightcade exists. And, you know, I mean, literally, outright been insulted as if I'm just fucking stupid as shit because I've been playing on console. But now I find out, actually, I was in the right all along. Right? Like, wow, that's tremendous. That's absolutely tremendous. Amazing. And again, guys, I was 100% gung-ho. I was going to do this tonight. 100%. I was in line to play tonight with all of you to enjoy retro fighting games. And apparently, I'm just not allowed that luxury like everybody else is. I'm not allowed to. Because I'm Darkside Phil, and everyone just wants to fuck on shit on me constantly. Right? All right. So unless anyone can prove differently, I guess it's off the table. We're not doing Fightcade. It's done. You know, I'm glad I didn't fucking do anything early because, again, everyone's saying, oh, just do it early. Set it up early. Imagine if I did and then it gets canceled after all that work. Fuck that. You know? No, a Google search wouldn't have done any of this because you need to hear it firsthand from people who use it to truly understand anything. Google searches are pretty fucking worthless. Right now, if you do a Google search, it'll tell you that fucking there's aliens on Earth and all kinds of weird shit. You don't know what you're talking about. You need to actually talk to people who actively use the technology regularly to really understand it. So, yeah, I have no idea what we're doing tonight. Right? I don't know. I guess we're just going to have a random stream where I'm just coming on stream and doing whatever. Whether it's no gameplay and we just fuck around. You know, we could do a Game Pass night, which originally is what we were talking about doing, is just exploring Game Pass and seeing if there's any games in there we're interested in. Yeah. Corny Gordon rules. You have no idea the implications of what you're saying. They're like, you know, it just, that person, what they're saying, it doesn't happen that often. You should just do it anyway. You should just stream Fightcade and see what happens. Yes, because if my IP address gets doxxed, right, totally I'll just be able to easily stream every day, and it won't affect my business in a negative way or anything, right? I won't be able to not make money because I can't work. What are you talking about? Oh, my God. Oh, my fucking God. Well, I'm definitely titling this podcast the Fightcade Disaster episode, for sure. I can't imagine. I mean, thank God we had this conversation, because if we didn't, I mean, that would have been a really, really bad, right? Like, it would have been. It just would have been terrible. So obviously, I'm very happy that it didn't come to that, and that we basically dodged yet another bullet, right? Oh my God. All right, no Fightcade tonight. I guess we'll either just have a hangout session or we'll maybe do some Game Pass exploration or something like that. And then I guess tomorrow night, we're either going to be doing like Street Fighter or Helldivers or something. There you go. Well, thanks for at least for being honest on the stream chat, those who tried to help. I really do appreciate that. And thank you for understanding that I just can't take that liability to have my entire business shut down because of this. That would be pretty fucking stupid, don't you think? Okay. All right. Let's get the shout outs. Holy shit. What a podcast this has been. So thank you, Jordan, for the first super chat. Good morning to you. Only Iced Coffee, thanks for 35 months of support. Jordan, another super chat, says, what games were you going to try to play on Fightcade? I was going to try to play all the classic fighters that I liked from back in the day. Super Turbo, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom, Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, the Alpha games, you know, Darkstalkers, just to name a few. All the games from my youth from the 90s that I loved, that I played in arcades. Right? Easy Steve did a super chat. Says, time to play whatever you want. Yeah, I guess so. Time to do whatever I want tonight. Says, obviously, Fightcade's not possible. And Jordan did another super chat. Are there any other ways to try to play the game on Fightcade or another service? There are no other services that basically are better than Fightcade. They're all the same, I'm assuming. I'm clueless about this. Sorry if there isn't. Yeah, apparently there's nothing. And again, the VPN doesn't work. VPNs, for those who don't know, do you know what a VPN is? All right? In a nutshell, what a VPN does, it routes your internet connection through another location on the planet so that it looks like you're located there, all right? Primarily, VPNs are used to disguise your identity or to unlock content that's region locked. So, for example, let's say you had Netflix. Well, in the United States, only certain stuff is available on Netflix. But if you were to say, oh, I'm from Norway, well, then other content would actually be unlocked on Netflix. And you could do this to change your location, geolocation in the world using a VPN and make it look like you're somewhere else, and so that you can get other content. That's primarily why people use VPNs. But VPNs can be used to make it look like you are somewhere else. And obviously that protects your identity. But the problem is, and this is what people are not saying, when you use a VPN, it adds lag because your connection has to ping through that other location first before it then goes to where the destination is. So imagine I'm trying to play someone over Fightcade who's located in California. If I just go direct to them, it's a connection from California to Washington State, which are just pretty close to each other in the United States. But if I'm using a VPN that says I live in Norway, my connection is going from Washington across the planet to Norway and then to California. And then the inputs there are going from California to Norway to Washington State. You're adding dramatic amounts of lag to the situation, in which case it just becomes not viable. There's no point to doing it. Do you see? Okay. All right. Jordan, thank you for gifting a membership. It went to Jim KR. So congrats to Jim KR on that gifted membership. Now, just a reminder that we have all new animations on the chat for any super chat up to $5. You've seen that a few times already here today, which is the Zangief one. But then we have 4 more new animations, each for a $10, $20, $30, and $50 tip. And they're all funny, very funny, whatchamacallit, Street Fighter animations, okay? So I hope that you'll enjoy them, but we do need to get contributions of that size. Let's start with our tip shout-outs today. The first tip of the day is a $1.69 tip. Everything public on SRK and Alphaism, I don't even know what Alphaism is literally recorded and archived. I hope you unban that man. Removed posts would not be recorded. You're talking about things that were public when SRK went down. Wrong. When SRK went down, when they took it offline, okay, it didn't have all the posts. I'm telling you, like, I had entire threads and things in there that were removed. Now, a lot of them were because I was an asshole troll, right? And I've admitted that back in the day, I was a pretty bad troll, right? And I've already owned up to that and said, man, I wish I didn't do that, because now that I'm older and wiser, I absolutely know that I caused a lot of people misery. All right. At the same time, there was a lot of underhanded stuff. that was going on in the community back in the day. Okay? So you're wrong. No, there was not a full archive of the stuff that went down on SRK. I wish there was, because then I could actually prove that I was pointing out flaws in the netcode and that it was deleted, right? Now, what you'll never find an archive of is the private conversations that I have with these people on IRC, which is actually where most Street Fighter discussion went down. It didn't happen on SRK. That was the public-facing post. The real shit went on behind the scenes on IRC chats. That used to happen, but those are long gone. But absolutely, these things happen. It doesn't matter what you think you found archived on the internet because a bunch of people who don't like me found negative archives. You can go fuck yourself and kiss my ass. I'm telling you like it is. You fucking buffoon. Okay. Someone tipped the bucket and says, well, if all the modern fighting games kind of bother you, what do you think? How do you think Fightcade would affect you? I mean, here's the thing. Okay. I feel like playing the classics, at first it will be stressful. Because, like I said, there's that whole try-hard mentality of people who've never given up playing these games or playing them online and who would constantly be practicing how to kick my ass. But at the same time, there's a feeling of competition that I would get back for those games. Like, it's the same thing with any game. When you get to that certain level, you're going to start to enjoy it more. Plus, there's something you're not understanding. Old school fighting games are not like modern fighting games, okay? In most old school fighting games, you can't just spam a pattern nonstop and get away with it. You just can't. They're not built that way. You took a lot more level of skill for execution, a lot more level of intelligence, a lot more being able to react to things, as opposed to, oh, here's a safe pattern I can do over and over. The meta of these games took so long to be discovered, and to this day, there's still things being discovered about the meta of old school fighters, as opposed to in Street Fighter 6, we knew the rushdown meta within like 4 months. And that was it. It's been the same since. It hasn't even changed, right? So that's the difference. Would there be stress playing old school fighters? Of course there would be. Absolutely there would be. But at the same time, I think I would like it more because it is the retro stuff I grew up with. And once I get back into the swing of things, I think it would be pretty enjoyable. Okay? I got a $2 tip. So this person says, Fightcade does not give away your IP address. Others cannot find it through a chat client. They only have your country code. If you're that worried, get a VPN. So again, this is the discussion we just had. Literally the discussion we just had, correct? So if the risk is present, and if you're so confident it doesn't give away the IP address, why would you recommend a VPN? Right? And we just discussed why a VPN is not viable in a competitive online game in any situation. It's just a dumb suggestion. Okay. Well, Kirk tipped $1 and said, what about Helldivers tonight? Well, I just played Helldivers last night. Or yesterday. You know, I literally just played it. If I play the same thing too much, it's going to end up feeling boring. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. Like, I don't want to just play the same thing over and over ad nauseum. So I think I would not be doing that. By the way, I received a $5 tip. I don't know who it's from because I think it was anonymous. But FYI, PayPal froze it. So whoever did a $5 tip, your tip was frozen. Now, there's various reasons why this would happen. Sometimes, and I'm not kidding, if you put words in your tip that are related to something that could be flagged for a terrorist act, I'm not shitting you, it could block it. For example, one time someone typed out something that said like Iraq or Iran, and it actually froze the tip. If you put something in there about bombs, I'm serious, these things get flagged on PayPal, and your tip gets frozen for like 2 days, and then they review it, and then they clear it. Whoever did the $5 tip, I can't see who you are, and I can't see your tip message because it got frozen by PayPal. So I'm sorry. I hope it goes through eventually, but I don't get to see any of your information, and I literally can't shout it out because it got frozen. So I'm sorry for that. Obviously, you know, I wish it went through and I could give you a shout out like everybody else, but I can't because PayPal froze it. So just to forewarn anyone who does tip, you've got to be careful about what words you use because they have certain filtered words that are flagged, and then it freezes your contribution. Jordan now did a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Jordan. He says, I'm not trying to be pushy. What if you emailed the Fightcade support to get guaranteed confirmation if it's safe? I guess I have to look that up. I don't know. Does Fightcade actually have support? I have no clue. That'd be something that I have to look up. I would have to email them and see if they ever get back to me. And by the way, I don't fault Fightcade at all if this is the case, that if it gives your IP address away. I mean, no one has situations like me, right? Like, literally no one goes through the shit that I go through. Here, let's see. Here's the website. There's not an email address to contact them. Nope. All they have is social media, which publicly tweeting them isn't going to help. Maybe I could find a way to contact them via their Twitter, like a DM. Nope, their DMs are off. Yeah, their DMs are off. Hold on. Maybe I'm wrong. Oh, I wasn't logged in. Never mind. Hold on. No. Maybe if I follow. No, you can't DM them. No DMs on Twitter. DMs are shut off. So I can't do that. That's a no-go. I'm trying, guys. There's no email address. There's a Facebook. I don't use Facebook. There's no way to contact them. Nope. Unless I hit maybe frequently ask, maybe help. Install ROMs launching. Nope. Nothing about contacting us whatsoever. Nope. Well, I give up. There's no way to contact them from what I can see. I just looked and I don't see anything. No, why would I fault Fightcade? These guys, these are fans of Street Fighter like everybody else. Okay? They want to have classic games protected for posterity purposes. They want you to be able to play these games even though they're not really represented anymore. There's no good console versions, and you can't really play the arcade versions. All they want to do is preserve fighting games. I respect that, right? It's not their fault that I have a giant troll community of idiots who are just foaming at the mouth to try to get my IP address and fuck with me. You know, there's zero fault to them. Why would I fault them? That's ridiculous. But there's no way to contact them. I just checked, and there's no way to contact them from what I can see. So yeah, Joe Loft, don't worry, man. Some people are apologizing now. They feel bad because they're like, oh, I feel like I ruined it for you. How did you ruin it for me? You know what you did is you saved me a giant headache, is what you did. You saved me a giant problem headache, which would have been awful if I basically went through with it and then my IP address got leaked. Because here's the thing. I don't even know with my current setup if I have the ability to get a new IP address. Here's why. Previously, I had a Comcast-owned modem. And as you know, I got rid of that modem when an employee of Comcast was messing with my internet last year, and then they got fired, supposedly. And now I got my own modem. I bought my own modem, a third-party modem, okay? This way, at the very least, no Comcast employee can ever enter my modem and mess with its settings, okay? Now, the problem is, and I've told you guys this before, is with a Comcast modem, when a Comcast modem goes offline, and then goes back online. It does not seek out a new IP address. A Comcast modem is hard-coded to get the same IP address it already had for no reason. There's no real reason for it. That's just how it is. Ever since I lived here for 10 years, we found this out, that there's no way for me to unplug my modem, plug it back in, and get a new IP address. It keeps giving me the same IP address over and over. We had to find workarounds for that to fix it. Like, I would have a tech out here, and we'd have to plug 2 modems in at the same time, so one of them would get a new IP address. Then we unplug the one with the old one and only keep the new one, and that's how I could get a new IP address. It was the only way to do it, okay? But now I have a new modem, brand new, third party. So I don't know if that modem will do the same thing because I still have Comcast internet, or if that new modem would actually act differently and seek out a new IP address. If I were just to unplug it for a while and replug it, I'd have to test it. And I haven't tested it because I haven't had a single problem since that Comcast employee was shit canned last year. So, I haven't fucked with it. Maybe I should fuck with it to figure it out. Okay, I received an incredibly generous $30 tip this morning from Dan the Man. We are going to see for the first time ever the new $30 tip animation. Are you ready for this? I don't think you guys are ready for this. Are you ready for this animation? This is the new $30 tip animation starting now. Spawn Killer overrode it. I got to do it again. Spawn Killer overrode it with a super chat. I have to do it again because it ended instantly. Well, let me get Dan the Man on the leaderboard, and then we'll do it again. Because that was not fair. All that build up, and then it went away within a second. Spawn Killer jumping, photobombing, basically. All right, hold on. I'm going to play the animation again because that's totally unfair. That's not fair at all. And I want to see it too. Okay. All right, ready? The $30 animation. Here it is. Oh my God. Now that is disturbing. That is absolutely disturbing. And that's only one of the 4 new ones. That's the first one you've seen. There's a $10, $20, and a $50 animation as well. And I promise you, one of those is even more disturbing than that one. I received a $5 tip from John Lambo. I'm sorry, many people portray you as a villain. Continue to listen to your gut and do what you want. Maybe you should just start Lost Odyssey. He says, would you be open-minded of doing a battle royal with creator wrestlers and stuff? Now, I'm not playing WWE games anymore. I'm not interested in it. You know, we did it for a while. Then we stopped doing it for years. Then I brought it back for like a year. But I'm out of it. I don't care about wrestling anymore. I literally don't watch it. Don't follow it. Not interested in it. So I have no desire to have wrestling content on my streams anymore. Okay? So some shout outs here. Spawn Killer did a super chat, says, how loud were arcade cabinets back in the day? Depended on the arcade you went to. Keep in mind that each arcade cabinet can be independently tweaked of the sound level. So traditionally, games like Dance Dance Revolution or a Bamani game where you're playing drums or guitar, they'd make it louder. Fighting games could be varied, and also depended on the level of fighting game. Like the earlier fighting games were just standard speakers. After a while, they went to this Q sound chip that actually did simulated surround sound, and it sounded really good in an arcade. Like you'd be standing at the cabinet and you'd hear the different levels kind of going around you. It created this like echo effect when you were standing in front of the cabinet. It was really well designed. But traditionally, there was always certain games that were louder than others. That would be way loud. And of course, if you had any old school Street Fighter, you would just hear the elephants across the whole arcade. It was always the doll scene thing. Dong, 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 dong. Dong, 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 dong. You hear the whole arcade is all you would hear. And then Blanca, the Blanca ball in old school Street Fighter, it goes, and he goes when he does it. So it's loud as fuck. Across the whole arcade, you'd be hearing that loud shit. Anyway. The Blimp just did a super chat. Says, I completely forgot about that Comcast nonsense. Man, you go through some crap, stuff it, boot up Fallout 4. What do you think is best? See, here's the thing. I totally would start Fallout 4. But the update's on Thursday. So why would I do it now? Right? Like, why would I start it early? King Gogan says, I saw some Reddit posts. Someone claims you can use a packet sniffer and you get the other player's IP address. This is pretty nutty. So I'm not doing it. Forget it. I can never play Fightcade, guys. And again, I don't blame the Fightcade makers. That's not the intention of why they made the client. They made it for posterity, for old school fighting games, to have them be viable, to be played online, so you can still have vibrant communities. They're not designing their thing to be foolproof from these kind of malicious people. So I'm very glad I didn't put myself in harm's way. And in fact, I'm going to go as far to say this. How much do you want to bet that a lot of the people who have been yelling at me and calling me names and insulting me for a decade, saying that playing it on console was the wrong way to do it, literally were doing that to goad me into using Fightcade so that I would get doxxed? How much do you want to bet they knew that that was the case, and they were just hoping that I'd be stupid enough to one day do it, right? I guarantee it. Not everyone, of course, but I guarantee you that's the case. So that's what I mean. I got to be very skeptical. When I start hearing people scream at me about certain things, I definitely got to start being more skeptical about it. It just sucks because, man, I was craving old school fighting games. I was literally looking forward to tonight and tomorrow night a ton because I was like, man, if I can get old school fighters in the rotation, that would be so much fun to be able to play. And you know, but no, I'm not allowed to do that. Not me. I'm the one guy who can't do it. Everyone else can, but not Phil. No, it's not for Phil. Right? What's up, Game Boy? How you doing? Good morning. Welcome. You know what's sad too? Because Drew Corporation just said something. He said, play it on your own time. Get that itch taken care of. Just for the record, I'm not going to. But sadly, if someone were to ever go on there and impersonate me, they would probably be completely doxxed and destroyed. Like, even if someone went on there, oh, I'm DSP, right? Probably trolls would find them. And oh, that might be him. So get his information. And they probably fucking get their IP address and dox them and all kinds of fucked up shit. But I'm not stupid. I'm not going to put myself in harm's way in any way. So... Thank you to the Blimp. He did another super chat, and he says, we support you, whatever you choose to do. Well, obviously, we're not doing 5K tonight. It's completely off the table. 100% completely off the table. So, what are we doing? I don't know. I mean, we could either do a chill late night stream where we just hang out and talk, or we could do a Game Pass night or a combo. Maybe we hang out for half the stream and we go on Game Pass and look at some random games for half the stream. And then tomorrow, I don't know. What do we do tomorrow? Because, again, tomorrow night was going to be me playing old school fighters, and now it's off the table. So, I don't know. By the way, we even forgot to talk. Man, we got so sidetracked with this. We were supposed to decide tomorrow, do we want to do a second Elden Ring stream or a Helldiver stream on the daytime stream? It got out of hand. We went so long about talking about Fightcade that we didn't even get there. So, I don't even know what we're doing tomorrow either. Oh. Ah. 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 Well, I received a $31 tip. Wow. A generous $31 tip. So this guy's name, listen to this. This guy's name is One Pump Chump. I'm not making that up. Someone just tipped me who's $31 tip and their name is One Pump Chump. All right? I can't imagine what that would possibly be a reference to. But thank you very much. Let's get the animation again. Again, you're going to see the $30 animation a second time. Keep in mind, there are new ones for $10, $20, and $50 you guys haven't seen yet. But there we go. One Pump Chump says the following. They have something to say. Okay. Your VPN concerns are true. There is extra lag, but remember something, console servers are conceptually doing exactly the same thing. Instead of a console server, it's a VPN server for Fightcade. That's how both work to protect your IP. VPN servers are built for speed. They're significantly faster. Some Fightcade users say it's much better than playing on PlayStation or Xbox because of that. Perhaps it's worth experimenting with just a 1-month membership to something like ExpressVPN that has US servers that you can leverage. Is it really? I mean, let's think about this realistically, right? Is it really worth it to get a membership to a VPN, to then try to get that to work in conjunction with my work PC, to then try to get that to work in conjunction with Fightcade, to then set everything up and try to do these matches and see if there's lag, and if it even works? Because what if it doesn't work and then my IP somehow still gets exposed anyway? Or what if they DDoS the IP of the VPN? Doesn't that still knock you offline anyway? In which case, now I have to constantly change my IPs all the time when I try to play Fightcade. Does it really make sense? The answer is no. The answer is, if you could see someone's IP over Fightcade, I can never use it. Period. That's the answer, sadly. It's just not worth it. It's just not worth the stress and the effort. You know? Why wouldn't they be able to DDoS a VPN server? They have the IP address. They could DDoS it. Right? What I see is it's just becoming, it's just a nightmare at this point, right? Instead of it being something fun, oh, we can bring classic fighting games to DSP streams. You can play the games from his youth. You could see him, you know, from when he was at his prime, playing those games actively, you know, seeing me actually play at a high level of Super Turbo and stuff like that in the best version possible. Instead, it's just become this fucking bloated nightmare mess of stress, right? So what's the fucking point at this point? You know? True Corporation says, you should reach out to a VPN company for sponsorship. You're the ideal client for their services with all the crap you get. Riven is getting remade? I did not know that. I might be interested in that because remember, years ago I played Myst and it was great. It was fun. Cryptic, but fun to do. So to play Riven would be really cool. If there's a remake, that might be the right opportunity to play it. Mark, thanks for 15 months as a member, and he says, been watching for years. Thank you for the laughs. You're welcome, and thank you for keeping up on watching and supporting. I appreciate it, man. I know all about Uden Chronicles, the spiritual successor to Suikoden, but sadly, I just don't think that we're going to have a situation where I'm going to be playing a JRPG anytime soon. We already had JRPG Burnout, right? The Drew Corporation, you were never out of my good graces. I don't even know what you're talking about. It just seems to me like you had like a complex or something about yourself. I don't know. I don't know what he's talking about. Anyway. Yeah, I don't know. Shit. I don't even know who I would like. Who would it be? I like you said, ExpressVPN. I know ExpressVPN does sponsorships, but they usually do sponsorships with giant people. You know, they're not doing sponsorships with a dude who has like 300 people on his stream. I don't think they're going to sponsor me, just being honest. Nor am I even really looking for a sponsorship, right? I'm not. I'm just looking for a way to do things so people can't fuck with me. All right. Any last minute? I know we went really long on this podcast. Any last minute questions or concerns, anybody, before we adjourn? Now that Fightcade's off the table, I guess we're just doing whatever again tonight. Great. That's 2-night stream shot, and I still don't know if we should do Elden Ring or Helldivers 2 tomorrow. I have no idea. Oh, excuse me. Sorry about that, everybody. Oh, exploding. Why would we play Harold Halibut when everyone on the Harold Halibut stream complained about Harold Halibut and said it sucked? Why would I play that tonight? Anyway, no, Jordan, this is the first stream. The late stream's at 6:45 p.m. Pacific time. All right. I guess it's time to adjourn. And by the way, no, I won't need a long break before we start with Elden Ring here. I just got to pee quick, and then we're going to jump right into it. So, all right, everyone. Well, thank you for the honest podcast. I certainly was not expecting this. Seriously, after all the years of people screaming at me to play Fightcade and telling me I was in the wrong for not doing it and literally outright insulting me and my intelligence for playing console classic fighters, to find out today that it was never viable to begin with and always a huge liability is pretty ironically hilarious to me. So I want to say thank you for being honest on the show. I didn't make a horrible mistake that wouldn't have, paid off and would have ended up being all screwed up for my business. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate that. And sadly, we can't do Fightcade ever. It's just off the table for now. Sucks ass, right? But it's life, I guess. At least I found out before disaster struck. So, it is what it is. Thank you all. Tonight, I have no clue what we're doing. We're doing a stream. I just don't know. I'll probably just call it the whatever stream. And people show up and hang out and we do whatever. I'm totally okay with checking out Game Pass or whatever if that's what people want to do. But I guess we'll see. And tomorrow on the podcast, I guess we'll talk about how it went. All right? All right, guys. Thank you for watching. I'll see you tomorrow.